Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with a video over on Ark Survival Ascended. And in this video, I'm going to, properly explain how engram points work inside of Ark Survival Ascended. Now I'm going to talk you through what you can do with them, how to reset them, the important things that you should focus on, and what you really need to be concerned with. Now, if you don't mind, smack that like button, leave a comment below for that algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel, and hopefully this video helps you out and you can see some other awesome Ark content. Anyways, let's go ahead and dig into it. So basically, as of right now, your character can hit 135 on the island map, level 135. Now, after you hit level 135, you're going to get right around 4,300 engram points. Now, what does that mean, right? So that basically means that engram points are these little guys. You can see them right here. If you go to the inventory, the tab next to that, you'll be able to see your engram points. Now, you have a total of, give or take, approximate right now. So there's about 7,100-ish engram points required to unlock everything on the island. However, when it comes to actually unlocking them, you only got about 4,000 points. So you can only unlock about half of the actual engrams. So a lot of that, I just said a ton of stuff. So I'm going to back up and kind of break it down real quick. So engrams basically are things that you can unlock by clicking on them inside of Ark. You unlock them at certain levels. This is level 1, 2, 3, 4. And in order to unlock them, you click on them, and you can see there's a requirement of 3 engram points for this one. Each individual item has an engram point requirement, which is why only having 4,000 engram points can be very difficult when you need a total of 7,000 to unlock everything. So essentially what we do in order to get around this entire process is we use something called Mind Wipe Tonics. Now, if you take a Mind Wipe Tonic, it's going to completely reset your levels, and you can see it right here. It's going to darken out all of your individual things. You can see that all of them are now blank. And it basically just sets you back to level 0. Now you have 0 points available. Each level that you unlock, so if I was to put a level into, let's just say crafting skill, right? I'm going to gain engram points. Now, give or take, you're going to see it's 8. And then each time I go up again, 16, 24. Convenient, right? So every time it goes up by a total of 8. So doing our math right, we're going to end up with a little bit. Now on single player, it works just a little bit differently, because on single player you get more points than you do on solo player or on official servers, so just be aware of that. But it's going to give you a still approximate range of points, because in single player you get about 12,000, so you can technically unlock everything in single player. However, you only get 4,000 inside of official servers. So now that we've got our engram points, right, that's the max. And then we can't make everything, right? So we need to pick and choose what we're going to use for our engram points. Every time I click something new, you're going to see the engram point requirement in the bottom left corner and the level that's required on the left-hand side. Now, this is essentially going to say if I've achieved level 2, I can use 3 of my engram points and unlock the campfire. And you'll see that it basically goes non-darkened anymore. It goes into light mode. And I have that learned, is what it's called. So if I go into the crafting menu, you can see that I now have the ability to make a campfire, which I didn't have it before unlocking that engram. So this is just the basics of engrams. So now that you understand, oh my goodness, really a Pelagornis right now, whatever. But so backing up, that is how you unlock them. You can get a total of 4,000, give or take right now, in order to have things to unlock. And it costs 7,000 to unlock everything in the game. So the real strategy is you want to save your points as much as possible for the late stuff, because early on things are really affordable, costing anywhere from 3 to 6 depending on what it is. However, in the later game, once we kind of cruise through all of this stuff, you're going to see that we basically actually end up into the really high things every time you click. So you can see metal behemoth cellar door, we're getting into the 30s, metal tree platform, 55. 20 for a refrigerator, 21 for an air conditioner. These are all really important things, and they're very expensive. So having the right number of engram points can be very difficult to think about saving, but having 36 just to unlock C4, which is something that you can't get anything for special abilities. So you can only unlock primitive ones. So 36 engram points are pretty much required for this. 40 for auto turrets. Any saddles, you're looking probably right around 40 to 50 for endgame saddles. And then you can see it gets more and more expensive as we go. 65 for the Megalania saddle. And then we get higher and higher. Mosasaur is 60, 90 for an industrial forge. And then obviously once we get towards level 100, which is the highest level you can hit, things are starting to cost quite a ridiculous amount. A rocket turret costs 100, a heavy auto turret costs 100, a Tyrannosaur platform saddle 120. A full riot suit is going to put you back almost literally 200 points. So it's important to actually think about what you're spending on, because you've only got 4,000 to spend. So what I'm going to tell you right now, right off the bat, only learn the things you have to learn. There are a lot of useless things inside of Ark. There are some things that will unlock next levels. However, you want to focus on things that you actually need, right? So early on, the important things, locking the campfire, stone hatchet, and spear is all required. You technically don't need to unlock any armor. We'll explain that in just a second here. Sleeping bag is important, and then foundation. That is your basic level. You don't really need much else quite yet, because you're going to end up unlocking things in the future. And in order to unlock certain things in the long run, you've also got to have things before it. So see how this one requires a water skin? Now, if I want to unlock that, I have to have 12 available. So you want to think about that, because a lot of these later things are unlocked by having things previously taken care of. And this includes mods, by the way. Mods will also require engrams, so just be aware of that. Now, as we're going down this list, right, you're going to start to see things get more and more expensive really quickly. So you have to pick and choose what you're going for. Typically, things you want to focus on is, if you're making a crafting character, don't worry about anything except for the things you want to craft. And if you're making an overall character just to look at all the different things inside of Ark, focus on a few things. Focus on the tools. Having tools is very useful. Focus on basic structures, things like simple beds, bark powder, mortar and pestle, anything, cooking pots. All of this stuff is incredibly useful in the long run, and you're gonna need it. Things that you are going to eventually need, you might as well unlock at any given moment, like bolas, very useful. Bows, because you need to be able to use the crossbow, having stone arrows available. And you want to go through, you don't need war drums, though they're great, you don't need them. You can always make them and then mind wipe back to your regular character, but you don't actually need them. So things that you want to think about as you're going through is, don't worry about the things that you don't need. You don't need a lesser antidote unless you need it, so you can always mind wipe to get it. You don't technically, you'll just die and reset anyways, so no problem. But things that are important, metal hatchet, metal picks, you don't need scissors, you don't need wall torches, you don't need painting canvases, you don't need tripwire alarms. I'm not going to go through and tell you all the things you do and don't need, but don't waste your points is all I'm trying to say. If you've got a couple people in a tribe, have someone be your armor guy, have someone unlock all the armor, and then you don't have to spend those additional 20-30 points per level, basically, because they go up at cost per time in order to work on it. So try and focus on something. That way everyone in your tribe can technically work to actually get a better overall crafting system set up. So that way you can technically have all the engrams without having access to all the engrams. So anyways, that is the complete explanation of what engrams are, what they do, and how you do it. Now, at the very end of this list, you'll notice that there are tech engrams. These are only unlocked by beating the bosses inside of Ark. So these cannot be unlocked with points. You have to actually beat the bosses in order to unlock every single one of these. These are all done by unlocking at Alpha Brood, Alpha Mega, and then Alpha Dragon. So that is something that's not actually you should worry about. So hopefully this video helps you out. And if you don't mind, smack that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, teach.